Planet Dolan. From being handcuffed next to a couple having sex, to getting shot in the arm, the Planet Dolan crew reenact even more of the best true stories from our subreddit about awful first date experiences. I'm Zaraganba and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by xxbaby_girl_xx. Doopy went out to dinner for a first date. After dinner, they chilled at his house and cuddled. Eventually the guy asked, "How kinky are you?" And Doopy said, "Very." So the guy told her to shut her eyes and don't be scared of what he's about to do. He leaves and comes back with handcuffs. Doopy, now handcuffed to the bed, was getting excited until the guy said, "I just want to keep you here alone in this room tonight and have sex with my bitch right next to you." He did exactly that and then told Doopy that she could go home after they were done. Number 9 was submitted by J1070. Gergak was on a date with a girl who was Mexican. Prior to the date, she told Gergak that her family had ties to Mexican gangs. That didn't stop Gergak, so he took her out for a movie and Subway. While Gergak was walking her home, he told a joke and she started laughing hysterically and yelling, "I'm dying, stop it." Her brother and dad were outside and they mistook her laughing for cries of agony. Gergak then heard lots of things yelled at him in Spanish, and then the girl's brother and father started shooting at him. Gergak got grazed by a bullet on his left arm, but wasn't seriously hurt. Somehow, they continued dating after that. Number 8 was submitted by Sadie_is_me. Ramona was invited to a guy's house for dinner. The food he cooked was great and everything was going fine until they heard a knock on the door. Turns out it was his mum and dad. He then confessed to Ramona that he lived with his parents. Ramona thought that was no big deal, so she even accepted when he invited her over to stay the night. Ramona went to sleep in the guy's room, but when she woke up, she found herself outside on the sidewalk. She wasn't sure if it was all a joke or if the guy's parents just didn't like her, but she went home and never spoke to the guy again. Number 7 was submitted by Cybertronax. Hellbent's best friend set him up on a blind date with his girlfriend's sister. The girl showed up 30 minutes late, walked over to Hellbent and said, "Why would my sister set me up with a fat fuck like you?" She said this loud enough for everyone in the restaurant to hear her. Hellbent got up and said,
"Well, I guess I'll be leaving. You have a great evening. Bye."
When Hellbent got to his car, she ran out, banged on his window and told him he's her ride home. He told her,
"Have fun walking home,"
and drove off. Number 6 was submitted by WhiteWolf660. Nixium's first date with his girlfriend was spending the night at his home, but his weird stepmother just would not leave them alone. She kept giving them a perverted stare. Eventually, they went to a nearby park to avoid her. They were making out on a bench when they heard camera shutter noises. His stepmother had climbed up a pine tree and was taking pictures of them. They left the park and she followed them in a car. Nixium finally told her to fuck off and she drove home. After Nixium's girlfriend went home, the perverted stepmother kept asking him questions like, "How was it? How far did you go? Will she be back? What did she taste like?" Number 5 was submitted by Herpetologisty. Pringle was having a good time on his first date with this girl. Eventually, she said she needed to go to the bathroom. After 20 minutes of waiting, Pringle went to check on her, but she was nowhere to be found. When Pringle went home, he saw his date on the news. She was wandering around the street, hammered to shit, and started asking the reporter where the Care Bears were. She told the reporter she was with a guy earlier that was going to make her a slave in the mini mines. She said the Care Bears were the only ones that could save her. Pringle definitely didn't think he'd done anything bad enough to require Care Bear intervention. Number 4 was submitted by Souldapop. On Ghost Toast's first date, he was invited back to a girl's house. When he got to her house, she mentioned that the house was her husband's, but it was okay because he was deployed. Nope, started running through Ghost Toast's head. Over a game of cards, the girl mentions that she's divorcing her husband because he wanted her to have sex with him while he played video games. Because of that, she explained she had no choice but to cheat on him with, in her words, at least 6 other guys. Afterwards, she showed Ghost Toast her DeviantArt page, where she let people pay to write their names on different parts of her body. Number 3 was submitted by ima-amazin. Emoji went out once with a guy who didn't seem to want to stop touching his groin while Emoji was driving. It was one weird date, but Emoji just dropped him off at the end and texted him the next day to say it wasn't gonna work out. The guy responded to the rejection by saying that he loved Emoji. and that she had hurt him emotionally. He demanded to know if Emoji had left him for another man. Emoji blocked his number, so the guy got his friend to start threatening to beat her with a bat, and Emoji had to get a 2-year restraining order because of some guy she went on one date with. Number 2 was submitted by HickCup90. A guy from school asked Pandora out on an early morning hike. The guy said he had feelings for her, but she turned him down. The guy responded by asking, "Okay, well, who's gonna take care of this?" gesturing to the tent in his pants. Pandora said,
I'm not taking care of that.
So the guy got up from the bench they were sitting on and went into the bushes. A few minutes later, he came back and they left the park, never discussing what those few minutes were for. He bought her McDonald's, then drove her home and pretty much fell off the face of the planet. Number 1 was submitted by me and was the worst first date I ever went on. In high school, I one day worked up the courage to ask out the prettiest girl in my class. Through some miracle of modern science, she said yes, which was just amazing. I took her out to KFC, which was my favourite food at the time and is to this day. And when I was trying to order a Zinger Burger combo for us both, ninjas attacked. Now this is not unusual in my part of Australia, but I think a few of the people were a little taken back, so I did most of the fighting. I did my best to make sure no one else around me got hurt, but when I turned around, the girl I had brought out had received a small cut on her arm from one of the ninjas. She blamed me and we broke up that day. I still think about her sometimes.
Looks like Zaraganba's off crying about a lost love again, so I guess I'm finishing up the script today. A huge thanks to the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the most embarrassing mistake you've ever made? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.